What's up, guys? Thank you for joining my channel. I'm the Spiritual Bodybuilder, and today I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons to embrace vulnerability. Right now, there's a lot of change going on in the world, and whenever there's change, there's vulnerability, because that feeling. Many people don't really like to feel vulnerable, especially if growing up as a child, if you had to suppress that vulnerability or protect yourself, from bad things, from some kind of trauma. That gets pushed to the side, and that creates a separation in our soul. It's called a soul fragmentation. And when that happens, it gets suppressed or dissociated, put to the side. And then at some point in our life, we have to embrace it and face it and figure it out. And right now, with all the universal energies, that's a really strong energy, because the universe is asking us to level up into our next highest vibration. And that's going to be going on for a while. So if you are afraid of vulnerability, and here's a sign that you are afraid to embrace vulnerability: if you are unable to get close to someone, like, for example, in an intimate relationship, right? You get to a certain point, and then things just start going wrong. Your insecurities start going nuts. You start to worry that they're out to get you, that they're going to hurt you, because that feeling is what you had when you were younger, right? So then we have all these defense mechanisms come up, and then we start to manipulate the situation. Then we eventually push these people out of our lives. Okay, that's so unhealthy, but it happens because it's teaching us, like, hey, you need to step up and stop running away from this feeling. Because once you do take that step and face that vulnerability, face that earth-shaking discomfort within you, you will find that on the other side of that is exactly everything that you want. Okay, the love, the career, the money, the living situation, everything will. Facing that vulnerability is really at the core of what's going to get you to where you want to go. Number 1 reason to embrace vulnerability. I wrote down: vulnerability allows advancement. So say, like, you're going into an interview for a big time job, right? You're sitting down, and the person's interviewing you is like, they're always looking for authenticity, right? For realness. Like, if you have the skill, be confident in that skill. And in order to be able to, if it's something that you really want, it's vulnerable, because, oh my God, if I don't get this, then A, B, and C is going to happen. But if I do get this, then I have to step up my responsibility. You feel like you're in between 2 different worlds. You don't know what to do, right? So being vulnerable and being open and honest and just authentic will help you to take that advancement to that next depth, that next level. And because in order to take on that next level of responsibility, what comes along with that is that next level of vulnerability. Vulnerability and responsibility both go deeper at the same time. You cannot have one without the other, okay? Reason number 2. I wrote down: vulnerability leads to increased abilities. So I know that for me, as I've grown into myself and gone through this ascension process, my abilities I'm highly empathic, and I'm incredibly intuitive, and I'm a neuromuscular therapist. So when I work on a human body, I'm sort of obsessed with anatomy. Okay, so I can visualize all the tissue, all the muscles, the lymphatic system, the nervous system, the blood flow. I can see it in my mind when I'm working on a body, and the more that I'm able to tune in, the deeper I'm able to go energetically, the more efficiently it releases and it opens up, because I'm literally channeling my energy into that tissue and telling it, hey, come on, it's okay, open up. And I can feel the subtle nuances when I'm going into that tissue to let it release. And a lot of times people have somato-emotional releases, that when the energy releases from tissue, the body awakens, and thus we have an emotional experience with it. Okay, so whatever your ability is, it could be communication, it could be being a great father or mother, it could be anything, right? but your ability will deepen because you're going to be able to see more of yourself in whatever it is that you're doing. Okay? Number 3, I wrote down vulnerability allows openness with others. You know, being afraid to be vulnerable, we sort of stay on this surface level with communication, you know, with interactions with people, places, and things. And not saying that, you know, like you're going to be vulnerable and you're going to tell people your whole life story. That's not what it's about. It's about, like, say someone says something and you sort of disagree with their approach, or you see that they're being super negative, you know, sort of call them out in a loving way. Like, you know what? I think you're wrong, and I think this is where you're at because I see that within myself and I see it within you. So here, why don't you try looking at it in another way, because this is going to be more productive. Something like that, you know? And then that's going to break them open and allow them to be more vulnerable too. Increased vulnerability negates increased vulnerability. So the more vulnerable you are with people, the more vulnerable they'll be with you, and the more safe and comfortable they'll feel in that situation, right? So that's definitely a huge one in my book. I think that's very, very important, especially in my line of work. You know, you have to be okay with being vulnerable if you want to go to that next step in your life. Number 4, vulnerability allows openness to self, which is sort of the theme that we've been talking about here. But, you know, in order to be able to see your own bullshit, you have to be able to take a step back and observe it from sort of like a third party perspective. So mentally and emotionally, when you're feeling these emotions, it sucks you in, and you get sort of trapped or lost inside this whirlwind of shit, right? So this comes down to breathing and being able to manifest calmness through your breath, through working your diaphragm. And as you do that, the more efficient you get at it, you'll be able to sit back and like, okay, I'm feeling this. Why am I feeling it? What is this feeling trying to teach me, right? And the more vulnerable you are with yourself, really the vulnerability is getting in touch with your inner child. And there are many different levels and phases to this, but it's really important. When we're not in touch with our inner child, we are not living our fullest potential. And so we are essentially suppressing our soul, who we are. Our inner child is basically our higher self, right? So it's all interconnected. So we need to bring these fractured parts of our soul back in by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. And the process of allowing ourselves to be vulnerable is the process of going into those uncomfortable feelings and sitting in them and letting them do their work to teach us what they need to teach us. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying it's worth it. Number 5, vulnerability makes discomfort comfortable. So as we keep taking one step at a time into this discomfort, into this vulnerability, you will find that you get stronger every step you take. And as you get stronger, you know, that feeling's still there. That discomfort sucks, like, oh, I hate going through this. But you take that step, and then it dissolves faster and faster and faster. Instead of hanging out for 2 or 3 days, it hangs out for 2 or 3 hours. Then it starts to hang out for 2 or 3 minutes. And then you start to feel like mastery, like empowered, like, all right, I got this. I can make this happen. I can do this. I can walk through it. Because you know what's going to happen. But at first, it takes a lot of faith to be able to step into that, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's on the other side of that. But I do promise you this: if you have never felt that feeling from walking into that vulnerability, once you do feel it, it will change your life. 100%. That's one of those, we go through certain thresholds in life, and that is one of the major thresholds. When you have that experience of facing that vulnerability and walking through it, it'll change you and it'll raise your vibration. And once you know it, once you experience it, you cannot go back. It's not possible. Okay? So, if you are in a place right now, and if you're watching this video, chances are that you are, okay? I implore you, do the work. Love and the work is loving yourself. It's not working hard. It's being easy on yourself, but also not being lazy, right? So, you know, if you need to relax or chill, relax and go sit in a sauna, or listen to binaural beats, or do a sound bath, or, you know, like, listen to something relaxing. Don't just sit there and binge and watch TV all day long and eat junk food, okay? Because that's just going to make you feel like shit more, right? So try to find an alternative to what it is that you are doing that is enough to keep you from falling off the cliff, but, you know, and also being able to sort of tip you over in this. You want to go in this direction. You don't want to go. No, come back. You want to go here. All right. Embrace that vulnerability. All right. And you know what? After a while, when shit happens in your life, you just sort of got to laugh at it. You know, okay, what am I supposed to learn now? Fine, fuck it, I'm going through it. It is what it is. Acceptance. A big part of like the feeling, we don't want to feel it, we have to accept it. And when we accept it, the vulnerability goes deeper and we feel more and we become better for it. All right? So thank you, my friends, for tuning in to this video. If you like the content, please comment below and please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Much love and respect. Peace.